Warning: viewers' discretion is advised as this may contain mature or triggering content. Story prompt: Death. Title: Unsolvable. Hey, Lucy, can you help me with this? The boss said he'd have my butt if I didn't finish it by the end of the day. I turned to Felix. Yeah, sure, what part do you need help with? A cheerful smile filling my face. I was the one everyone turned to when they needed help. Some even called me the Solvinator, the problem-solving machine in human form. I couldn't help but chuckle at the weird nickname. Felix laid out a few papers. Here and here. For some reason, the boss man didn't like these points. I nodded, staring at them. Then changed this one to this. See, here we want to expand our customer reach, but the way it's worded doesn't fit well. It's like we're half-hearted in it, not really caring if we reach a broader audience. Felix nodded. Oh, okay, I get it. And this? I stared at it for a moment. Well, how about offering a 30% discount for new users for the first 2 purchases, and then if someone uses a reference, they get a 40% discount and their referee gets the same discount for at least 2 purchases. This way, we aren't losing too much profit, but it gives the look that we are willing to possibly offer such kind of discounts in the future. That's brilliant. I'll type it up real quick and send it through. Thank you so much. I nodded. No problem. Is this for the final draft on the cells? Felix nodded. He told me it better be good, but I'm sure once I tell him you gave me the idea, he'll approve it right away. I chuckled. Whatever you say. I doubt that, though. Felix headed off. Once he's more comfortable in the company, he might turn out to be like me. Someone else came up. Hey, Lucy, did you ever figure out why those documents didn't want to save as a PFD? I nodded. Yep, and I already sent it out, so it'll arrive on time. Thank you. You're a lifesaver. I smiled. Don't mention it. Next time it happens, well, if it happens again, I'll show you how to get around it. Miss Smith? I glanced up to see my boss standing over me. Yes, sir, what can I do for you? He blushed slightly. I hate to ask, but there is an issue with my computer updating. Not even Haley can figure it out. I nodded. Okay, give me like 2 seconds to finish this up, and then I'll be right there. Might just need a hard reset. My boss nodded, heading back to his office. My phone rang and I glanced at it. Usually I kept my personal phone on silent, but I must have forgotten. I picked it up, getting ready to deny the call before noticing it was from Melton Hospital. A sinking feeling hit my gut. Hello? Hello, is this Lucy Smith? Yes, may I ask why you're calling? Karen Smith and Greg Smith were in a major car wreck. Unfortunately, your mother didn't make it. Your father is currently in surgery. Is there a way you can head to the hospital now? My body trembled. Yes, give me about 15 minutes. I shot up from my desk, gathering my stuff before heading towards the boss's office. I threw the door open, shocking him. Miss Smith, my computer isn't a major issue for you to almost break my door, he said with a small chuckle before a frown crossed his face as he saw tears beginning to slide down my face. I'm taking some of my vacation. I'll be back later to fill out the paperwork, but I don't have the time for that right now. My boss was still shocked. Miss Smith, what's going on? My parents were in a bad accident. My mother didn't survive. My father is in surgery. I need to go. I turned, storming from his office and marching for the elevator. I didn't care if I got pointed. My family came first. My mom and dad were all I had. I heard my boss holler something, but I didn't catch it. Soon I arrived at the hospital, rushing to the information desk to find out where my father was and how he was doing. Ma'am, please calm down, the woman said as she lazily flipped through papers and glanced at her computer. Tell me where my father is located before I sue you, I growled, annoyed that she was moving the pace of a sloth. The woman glared at me before handing me a note with the room my father had been put in. He was in the ICU. I heard the woman mutter about how rude people were nowadays, and I wanted to turn around and smack her, but I headed for the ICU. Following the numbers to his room, my body shook as I opened the door and stepped inside. I heard the beeping of a machine and saw a doctor standing by my father. Hello, miss. Are you his daughter? I nodded. Yes, how is he? Will he be okay? The doctor sighed. I can't say for sure. He made it through surgery, but just barely. Right now, he's on life support. We'll need to wait to see if he's able to stabilize. Is there anything I can do? Not right now. I know it may be hard, but for now, could you come with me to fill out some paperwork? I frowned. Seriously? The man nodded. In order for us to keep him, and then we also have your mother. I am sorry for your loss. We tried saving her, but she had lost too much blood. I knew he wasn't trying to be rude. I knew there were things that needed to be filled out, but still I felt offended. I followed him, filling out the paperwork, and then headed back for my father's room. But as I entered, I heard the machines let off alarms. People rushed the room asking me to move out of the way, and I could only stand by and watch as they hooked him up to something and brought out shock pads. 1, 2, 3, clear! My father's body jerked as it was shocked, trying to start his heart rate again. They tried several times until they called his time, and my world tilted, going black. Several hours later, I jerked up from the bed, and the doctor that had been with my father was there. Don't move too much. You smacked your head when you passed out. How are you feeling? I felt sick. I had just lost both my parents. I was alone now. Tears splashed against my cheeks, and I began to weep. My body felt cold. I couldn't seem to find any hope at this point. The doctor sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing my back. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Smith. I had never felt so broken before. I didn't have a solution to this problem. There was no solution. I curled into myself. For once in my life, I couldn't solve anything. My phone rang and I glanced at it. Hello? I had to answer. It was my boss, and I had just stormed out of the office. The doctor stood, giving me privacy. Is everything okay? How is your father, Miss Smith? I had expected him to yell at me for rushing out of work, but he was calling out of concern. Sobs racked my body. They are gone! I cried into the phone, sobbing uncontrollably. I couldn't say anything else. My throat felt like it had sealed itself off. Stay there, Lucy. I'm coming to get you. I felt a bit surprised that my boss had just used my name. He never called anyone by name, but it gave me a small bit of comfort. Uh, okay. Much to my surprise, my boss arrived soon, and he pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry about your parents, Lucy. Those at the office and I are here for you. You've done so much for us, so you aren't alone. If you need help with anything, or even everything, I'll be there. I nodded, wrapping my arms around him. My boss usually wasn't one to show such emotions, so I was surprised even more, but it made me feel a bit better. It made things feel a little less hopeless. I'm not sure if I can focus at work. I'll handle the paperwork for my vacation time. I'm sorry for running out. Nonsense. We all know how much your family meant to you, and they were always very kind to me. One day your mother came to bring you some cookies. She told me I was working too hard and I needed to learn to enjoy life a little more. She then gave me some of the best chocolate chip cookies I had ever had. After that, I took time out each day, going on walks just to enjoy nature for about an hour. My boss let me go, and I saw a sad smile on his face. I owe you a lot. You always seem to have a solution to our problems. Sometimes I don't think I pay you enough. You are my best employee, but I also want you to know that you aren't alone, and this is an issue you don't have to try and solve on your own. I'll be there for you, as much as I can. I nodded. Thank you. That means a lot, I said, giving him a soft smile. Even if this was something unsolvable, at least I wasn't alone. It seemed I had my entire company to lean on, which gave me a small sense of peace in the hole that had just been created in my world. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It is, it's kind of a surreal one, because the situation could happen to absolutely anyone. And it's always nice just to keep in mind that Being there for someone as a form of support, even in the smallest of ways, can change a person's world, and sometimes we lose sight of that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you haven't, like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Bye.